Yeah, zombie game, probably play that. We were playing that last week anyway, the previous week, sorry, so Zombie U and the Wii U. Might carry on playing that. Maybe Kira might even be able to finish it, so that might be a good one. And it'll fit in with something else I'm doing. How big is the studio? In the studio, it's kind of hard to describe. We've got two studios next to each other. One's for a dance studio that Lindsay does her teaching classes in there, fitness classes and everything. And that's about, in square meters, I'll give it in square meters. Her studio is about, was it 45 square meters? I think it's 50 square meters.
50.
Yeah, I think both studios are about 50 square meters. But my studio is more next to where we've got like a thoroughfare and a little kitchen area, so we can make drinks for people when they're in the studio, and the toilet area. So my studio loses about 10 square meters, I think it is. So I think we're about 40 square meters in here, and Lindsay's is 50 square meters. Yeah, mine's more longer room as a result of it. And this section here that I'm sitting in, this is like the main part. So this is where we've got our gaming setup, we've got a PC over there, and the camera right in front of you with our lights and stuff. I've got the chairs here, and then behind me is where I've got, that used to be my office before, and I used to work from there and do the streams from there, but that's now a sort of I've got some stuff stored there just now that needs to be moved, but it's where I've got the second computer table where if someone wants to work on something in the studio they can work there. And it's a nice glass table for displaying things we've got in the studio, games and everything. So I don't know if you can see it, well I showed it earlier, but on there we've got our Half-Life gravity gun, we've got some Zelda gear and some Mario gear as well, so yeah, that's a nice big area. In the background, the stuff here, 1 second, stuff here is the amiibos, so we've got about 25 amiibo up on the wall. There's ones from Super Smash Brothers and a couple of other ones. We've got the 30th anniversary one and stuff, amiibos here on the little tray. These are just ones that we actually did open up, and a couple I tried to modify and customise. And then some posters from games, we've got some posters from games and stuff. I'll give it a wee, show the gravity gun, 1 second. I'll give you a wee pan of the room so you can see it a little bit better. So that's like a game area with the gravity gun and stuff, as you can see. So that's the other Mac we've got there. Got a little display for, ignore the mess in the background, a little display there for some Super Mario stuff and some Zelda bits and bobs, which is cool. Got some other stuff there, so we've got things from our film that we did, the Zombie U film, the real Zombie U that you can see on YouTube. Some posters from old movies, Robocop and E.T. That's our wall of amiibo, like I was saying. Let's see if I can get that in focus for you all. Yeah, there you go. It's looking nice. So yeah, so we've got our amiibo that we're building up, still adding some other ones to it as they come in. I think we've got the Shovel Knight one still to add to it once that arrives. Just some posters. My favourite game of all time there, Phantasy Star Online. Beautiful. Yeah, just some posters and stuff, and then like I said, the other seats they're used for when we've got other people in the studio, so when we're doing our weekend review and stuff like that. And around here you can't really see it, but got a couple of things. That's our gaming area where got all our consoles all connected in and stuff. Old GameCube. And then one that's from America, Baltimore Ravens. I was given as a gift, so I'm not a big Baltimore Ravens fan, so don't think that I'm choosing one side over another. It's just a rug thing that looks quite cool. But I'll go back in the camera because of that. It was a nice wee tour, a wee mini tour of the studio. So it's not massive, but for what we're doing. What's written on the back? It's got a couple of things. It's got the red marks for the, what do you call that? Tally marks for the kills with the bat. And when we filmed it, we actually, I think we counted them as zombies we did, so there's 12 in it or something. I don't think we killed 12 in the film though, but I think the idea was that was the plan, was we had planned it out that there was 12 zombies that we would have killed or something. And then the other bit is we've got a card. It's like an old sort of playing card. I made it up, printed it up, and it's got one of the old, you know, you see in old movies where you've got 1930s pin-ups and the cards. We've got that, and we called it Betty, so the bat's called Betty. Yeah, Yoda. Again, it was a picture from a friend. I've got a friend that collects a lot of Star Wars things, and he gets the thermal detonators and the phasers and guns and everything. And yeah, he's had like the lightsabers, like proper ones from Sideshow Collectibles, I think it is. There's another one as well that does it. But he buys lots of stuff like that. But he's one of these guys that he'll buy stuff and it costs him a fortune, and then he gets bored with it after a couple of years, and then he wants to get rid of it to make space for new stuff. So a lot of the time he'll ask me to either sell it on for him, or he'll just give me it if I want it. So then I end up putting it in the studio, or I put it elsewhere, or sell it for him. But that's where the glass table came from. He gave us that, donated that to us for the studio, and yeah, the Yoda thing as well. So that's been quite handy, helped out a little bit. And the rest has just been buying as we went along. So I've been putting money back into the studio to try and get more equipment and consoles, and buying the games obviously, but getting the chairs, lights, cameras. Still got a streaming PC to get, probably get more lights because we need to get more of them. Got the drone that you can see in the background when I was panning up at the thing. Yeah, like a World War II bomber, exactly. So that was the idea, was to make it like an old sort of customised bat. And if you look in the film, you see when he picks it up and stuff. We actually had a bit in the film where, if you look at all the weapons, they had a QR code in them, and certain parts of the film had QR codes hidden on scenery. And at the time we did have the website up, it was a different website, and if you scanned your QR code, there had parts of the website that were hidden unless you scanned it, and it would take you into that part of the website, and you would get to see the stats for the weapons. So when you pick them up, you can see the stats. But I'd actually designed and created graphics that had all the actual stats and told you about the weapon itself. So if you scanned that, you would see the details of the weapon. So the bat, if you looked at its stats, all the stats were maxed out, and that's why I picked the bat over the guns and the pulse rifle, for instance. Its stats were off the charts. It was so OP, it was unbelievable. Kit. Well, right now the camera is a Panasonic GH4 Lumix, Panasonic Lumix GH4. So that's our main camera. Bought it about 2 years ago, a year and a half ago now. It was one of the first 4K DSLM cameras, mirrorless cameras. It was one of the first ones to do 4K in the camera itself. So the idea was we could only afford one camera, and it made sense to get one that we could film in 4K. We weren't going to output anything in 4K because it didn't make sense, because nothing was really doing it, especially devices. It's a little bit different now, but it meant we could use a 4K camera and we can film in 4K, but then we can actually zoom into the shots, so you can output it at 1080p, but you can use that because you've got 4 times the real estate. So you can actually film like film a master shot like this, let's say, but then you could actually zoom into the badge, for instance, and you'd see that it still looked really clear in 1080p. So that was the benefit. We could actually create multiple shots, kind of suit, what do you call it? What do you call it, Lindsay, when you've got like fake fur? What's it called again? Faux. Yeah, we could create faux shots essentially. Not 4, but faux. So it was like creating shots out of one master shot. So that was a good choice. Top of that, right now I've got a little lapel microphone, a Rode lapel microphone in the camera because we've not got a main microphone. I've got one for recording voiceovers, but it's a diaphragmatic mic, and it's really only for voiceovers, so it doesn't make sense to plug it into the camera because you would only get one direction of sound. Whereas the lapel microphone, you can actually direct its area, so I can actually direct it for here, and it'll pick up all sort of people in the area and around and stuff a little bit. So it works reasonably well. It's a bit tiny in this room just because of the shape of it and the roof and everything. Regarding lights, these are, I can remember the name of them. They are, no, what's the company that does Portal in the game? It's like that, but they're LED lights, 500 LED lights. I've got 3 of them, and you can change the, not the gel, it's not a gel or anything, it's like a plastic inlay that you can take out, and it's solid so you don't break or anything. But you can put them in, you've got white ones and tungsten ones essentially, so you can change the colour of the lights. And they seem to work really well because you can plug them in, so they're plugged in just now, and they use very little energy, and they'll last, and they're bright and stuff, and they're pretty good, and they don't get hot either, which is in this small of a studio, it's fundamental. We had some proper lights in here before, and they get hot, and if someone touches them, you burn yourself and you actually scald yourself. So when we first done the Kickstarter a couple of years ago, we did a Kickstarter to try and get the show up and running. Unfortunately it wasn't successful, but we did get the lights in for that, and it was just a nightmare because we had big stands to hold them on, and it was having to try and manoeuvre around them and try to manage people around the lights without killing themselves. So the LED ones, they're about this size, and they work really, really well, and don't get hot. We've got 3 of those, and you can take them off and they can be battery operated. If you put the batteries in, they've got big ones, they're like Sony ones about that size, but if you put the batteries in, they take 2 each, and they can last for about 4 hours. So you can actually take them out in the field and use them, and they'll last for about 4 hours, which is really, really good for that kind of light. And yeah, I think the idea is we've got 3 here just now. I'm only using 2 just now because it's a bit bright with 3. It's better when there's 3 people in here for 3. The idea would be to get some rigging up on the wall at the top on both sides, and put maybe 3 or 4 on either side to light the whole studio up and get really nice bright lighting, and then you can sort of kind of tailor things here and there. We've got a lot of work actually, a lot of work went into the film. It got delayed for quite a bit just due to sound and music and editing and trying to get people together at the same time to do the film. So unfortunately it delayed quite a bit, but we then took a decision to delay it a little bit longer to release it on October the 31st, Halloween. So it made sense to release it on that day instead of releasing it 2 weeks earlier or something, or 3 weeks early. So that was quite cool. Hi Donovan, how you doing, man? The QR codes aren't working any longer, unfortunately, because the studio was known as Deep Fry 35, and then it switched over to SmallFryUnify when the other person that joined the studio with me when we first set it up, he left, and then I was basically running the studio myself, and I wanted to start it from fresh, so I started as SmallFryUnify. So everything that was there previously came down apart from the film itself. It's on YouTube. So I've still got copies of all the stuff, the images. I might put them up at some point for some people who have asked for them. But all the QR codes and the website and everything and all the social media stuff came down, and yeah, you can't access them now, unfortunately. But yeah, you could go into them and you had the QR codes for the weapon images, you had QR codes, we had recorded voiceovers for each of the main characters, the zombies, and it was their last phone call before they turned into a zombie. So they were, like, the schoolgirl was phoning her mother to tell her that someone was chasing her, Jack, and he was chasing her, and it was her phone call to her mother. It's like 30-second calls or whatever. And then we had recorded all of the zombies in the studio as well, and it was like we had captured them, and we were like a government agency, Cobra. It was our version of Cobra, like the actual real one, but we spelled it differently with an R instead of just Cobra. They spell it differently. Yeah, how's it they spell it? I forgot. But we spelled it a little bit differently, so it was Cobra, and we had it like a government setup where Cobra was running all this stuff. So we had them in the studio, and we done, it was like introduction videos to each of the zombies. So it was like, yeah, welcome, this is a zombie and he's been caught, blah blah blah. It was quite like humorous. We kind of tried to get a Fallout 4 vibe to this videos, and they were kind of old archive footage, and it's told you to destroy at the end like Mission Impossible. And they were really funny because the butcher, he was sitting eating a chunk of meat. We actually got him to get a steak from the shops, and he's ripping it off with his teeth and he was chewing it like real meat. It was horrible, but it looked really good in camera. He was a student that had left university, and he was working on, he was doing videos for like weddings and businesses. So he wasn't really into his game side of stuff like I was. He didn't want to do game related videos, so he went off and done that, and he set up a company with his brother, I think a website with his brother where he was doing videos for business market videos. Not really what I was want to get into at all in the slightest. That's not really what the studio was set up for. It was set up to work on projects for game related content and films like Zombie U, and with a couple of other films we were planning, but they kind of fell by the wayside. So yeah, he's away doing that. Don't speak to the guy now. Unfortunately, never left on good terms. So yeah, that's kind of history now. But yeah, moved on, and I've been working in here for the last. That's been almost 2 years now. It was 2 years in January. That'll be, but it's just flown by because doing the Kickstarter, doing the shows, planning. I've got a film that we've been working on for. Well, I've been working on it for a little while now, but it's not in production yet, just due to people being away and not being able to get involved in the studio due to other issues with their lives where they're working or they've got jobs or whatever. So it kind of keeps them getting put in the back burner. But I've got a short film for Half-Life. It's in the Half-Life universe that I've planned it for about 5 years now, and we've got the script is pretty much finished, apart from a couple of little tweaks here and there. The script's pretty much done. Got the drone, which is what I was wanting for filming certain parts of it. Now we need to find the locations. I've got a location that I want to check out with the drone, but it's getting down there is a bit of an issue because it's a little island out in this, next to Edinburgh, and you have to get a boat to the island, and I have to get a carry case for the drone to take it over there then to film it and stuff. So I'll do that at some point, but that's going to go ahead at some point. So yeah, just working on these kind of projects on the background. I was deleting these spam ones, 1 second. Yeah, so lots of things with the studio. Right now we're doing 4 streams a week for games. We've got the week in review that we do, that's an hour, roughly an hour. Probably just let that sort of kind of flow as it goes. An hour kind of try and top up maximum. We'll maybe shorten it or lengthen it depending on what people prefer. That may turn into season 2 of Games Lounge. Still deciding that yet, or it may be additional to that, or it may be they will condense it into a shorter video or something for a almost like a highlights video. So we'll do it live or pre-recorded, and then we'll have a highlights video for people to watch on YouTube. Still got to decide with that. But yeah, so 4 streams and the week in review, and still testing other things in the studio. Yeah, just working on projects here and there. A Half-Life film, well, like Zombie U, the real Zombie U that we did, the idea was it was Half-Life, set in the Half-Life universe, so you won't be Gordon Freeman, don't want to do that. There's another company, I think it's, what's it called again, it's not Corridor Digital, there's another independent group are doing a Half-Life film. I think it's called Freeman, or Half-Life the Freeman Chronicles, I think. But they're doing a short film, it's looking quite good. They've actually put quite a bit of money into it. They got Kickstarter or one of the other ones funded. So they've been working on that, but they are using Freeman as their main character. As much as I'm excited about the project, I think you have to stick with what Half-Life is. You never see Freeman, and it's just the idea is more important than seeing him. So don't want to use Freeman in that sense like that. But the story is basically, I don't know if you've seen some of the Half-Life shorts on YouTube. There's one called The Red Box, I think it is. I really liked that. I really liked that one. It's quite cool, really well done with the mobile phones and their special effects they did with them. So it's probably going to be something incorporating similar sort of kind of elements like that. I want it to be quite not effects heavy, but showcasing some really cool effects that people will really like to see. But the story itself, I can't give too much away about it, but it's just the tide sort of kind of turned, and this is a pivotal point where if you can get your hands on this device, a device, it may turn the tides for humans and the rebels and stuff against the Combine and whoever else. So the main character's tasked with trying to get this, and it's just how he has to get through the hurdles and the challenges, trying to get that and get it to where it needs to be. And then there'll be extra bits in there, so it doesn't give much away, but yeah, it's just, we'll be using the drone for flying shots where it'll look like one of the not the hacker ones, you know, the one that flies around and takes your picture. So we're going to be using the drone for shots like that, where it'll be emulating or acting like one of those drones taking the picture, so you'll see shots from that kind of aerial perspective, which will be quite cool. No, I'm actually an actor, so that's what I've trained in, acting. About 18 years ago I was studying acting essentially, and I've done that for a few years, and then on and off I've been with agencies and doing short films, independent films, done some voiceovers for games, independent games, nothing major, no major games like, so don't expect to recognise one, although you might recognise the 90s Arcade Racer, which is done by, it's getting worked on by, what's the company now, Nicholas, yeah, they're developing it or producing it just now with a guy called Antonis or Pelican 13. Game's been delayed for 2 years unfortunately on Kickstarter, which is a nightmare, especially when you're involved with projects like that, because it takes away some of the shine from it. But I did do some of the voiceovers for that, for the announcer, so if that ever does come out, then you'll hear my voice in that. I've done some voiceovers for educational software. My brother used to work for a company and they were making educational games, so I was working in video games, but they were doing it to educate people in businesses and using gaming as a tool for that. So I did the voiceovers for that, where just generic stuff, it wasn't really exciting. And then I've done ones for mods and stuff like that. Acting wise, I've done some commercials, and then that's why I kind of wanted to set up the studio, was to start working on projects that I've had in my head for several years. So that's why I set up this. But the effects stuff, as you can see, anything that we're doing just now on the projects, like the streams, I like doing sort of visual stuff, I like doing graphical stuff. It's not quite perfect, like the badge, the SmallFryUnify badge that you'll see on most of our stuff, that was designed by me, and I got a guy to help with the 3D design of it, to make it in 3D Photoshop, and then he converted it into a 3D model where I could then send it away to get made into the badges. So I like designing things like that, and I'm quite a sort of kind of, I'd say perfectionist, but I'm not really a perfectionist, but I'm quite picky when it comes to the look of things. Unfortunately, the things didn't always work out. Well, with the film, one of the stumbling blocks was trying to get the guy who was doing the effects to kind of push himself to do the effects, to get them looking like that. So if you look at the overlays for the guns, the weapons for instance, and how they're tracking the weapon, it's like we tried to get it so it was rock solid, so if you moved the weapon, it would track with it perfectly. And unfortunately, when he was doing it, he didn't really sort of kind of get that idea. He just sort of kind of looked at stuff, he just put it on, as long as it's on there, it looked cool, but I kind of forced the issue that it had to be perfect, because if it didn't, that's when you take away some of the effects. And yeah, for the budget that we spent, which was £250 on that, which is virtually nothing, and a lot of that went on to travelling and food, the amount of money we spent, it was zero essentially, a minuscule budget to get the effects that we did. Pretty damn happy with it, and having things like the QR codes all linking in, having the website, we had each of the videos getting released up until the launch of the film, we had social marketing, doing stuff where we were making a thing called the Weekly Apocalypse newsletter, and it was like a front page of a magazine, and it told you the latest news for the week of things that happened zombie wise based on the film and the idea. And we posted them up each week, and I put them across all the social networks, and then eventually there was a QR code in the film where once the film released there was about six of those went out, but if you found the QR code you could scan it and you could download the full 6 of them as a PDF. Really cool. So stuff like that, yeah. Oh well, thank you very much, Philbo. I looked a bit better when I was younger, but yeah, I'm hanging in there. 37 now, so I'm doing not too bad. Try to keep myself in shape, but it's difficult when I'm working a full-time job. I work a full-time job at a college, and I do that, and that takes up my whole day. So I'm away doing IT there, and then I come back and I'm fiddling with consoles and computers to try and get things working here, which I'd like to be here full-time doing more stuff. But it pays the bills, it pays for the studio. Yeah, but I might post stuff. The problem is it's tied to the film, and because there was someone else involved with the project back then, it's not really sensible to put it out there for saying here's all this stuff. It's like I've got it for my own personal happiness and for posterity reasons, but posting out there might cause a bit of problems. I suppose if someone wanted it, we could always send it out to them as a sort of kind of one-off thing. But yeah, the Half-Life thing, what I would say to you is, if you think Zombie U, the real Zombie U film that we did was good, if I can get my way, and I can get the people involved with it, and get it what's in my head, and what I've been trying to get down in the script, and get it all planned out, if I can get that stuff, imagine the real Zombie U, in my eyes, about 10 times better, better visual effects, better story, a more light story, something that's more mass appeal, so more people will see it in a wider demographic. Yeah, imagine that all together, and then it'll be pretty damn cool. Because I've watched a lot of the Half-Life shorts online, and I like a lot of them, but I think some of them are missing certain things, and I'd like to address some of that. Whether I do or not is a different question. Whether I put it out there, people's go, it's just another Half-Life short, or it's not quite as good as what it could be. If I get my way, it will be, so. Exactly, fuck that guy! Get them out there. Well, the problem is, if I put it out there, it depends where it went. If it's just pictures or something, I can probably do that on the social networks. That wouldn't cause a problem too much. The videos, probably can't post them online. Problem is, you start putting anything like that where other people have been involved, it's quite easy for them to just turn around and say, I want that copyrighted or taken down or something, so then you get in trouble for that, and it ends up being your channel gets taken down or something like that. So I'd rather avoid any conflicts like that. Things like on the social networks, putting up the pictures, I can maybe do that kind of stuff where people want to see them, things I've worked on, that's personal stuff, so I can say, well, this is a project I've worked on, and this is the images and the video files or whatever, so people can maybe look at them there, but I probably can't put them on YouTube, so yeah, I'll see about maybe doing that at some point. Just, I'll have to try and find the folder and see what stuff I've actually got there. But yeah, I can maybe post up the weapons in the weekly Apocalypse newsletters for people to check out. They were good fun, they were good fun. Pretty funny, the ones we did with the actual stories that went on the front page. Anyway, Philbo, I'll probably wrap up there, dudes, because it's, what time is it now? Coming up at 12 o'clock, talked way past what I said I was going to do. I said I'd do 50 minutes, that's been 30 minutes. But I'll stop the stream now. I'll probably post this up just as a separate QA thing, I'll cut it separate from the video. Let us know what you think of stuff. Remember, I presume you're following as well. What's your favourite project? Well, honestly, right now, this, I really enjoyed working on the Kickstarter project, although some of the things didn't work out how I planned. So that was always, I know we could have done better, or could have done things differently. But right now, working in the studio, the way the studio is set up, because it's been rearranged a couple of times, the way the studio is set up, I'm working on the streams, I'm really enjoying it. I'd like to spend more time in it, but I'm really enjoying this. I'm really enjoying the streams when the guys come up, Lindsay joins us and we do the different games. Kieran crapping on himself when he's playing scary games. That's really good, and the week in review, that's fairly new. Really enjoying that. Tested a couple of new things out last week, or on Saturday there, with Skype, so that's paving the way for some of the things we've planned down the line, where we're hopefully going to try and get people to come on as interviewees, and we'll maybe get people from different places who are involved with the gaming industry, assuming we can get them to do it and agree to it. But one guy that's potentially lined up already for doing an interview on his arcade cabinets that he sells, so if we can get in touch with him and get that set up, and then we'll maybe have an interview with him fairly soon, which would be quite cool. He makes arcade cabinets, custom built ones, and they're really damn cool, and he sells them, and he goes to events and what do you call them, exhibitions, and shows them off. They're really cool. I'd love to have one in here, but I can't afford it because they're about 400 quid for a little small one about that size, so probably £1,000 for a mean size one. But yeah, I'd love to get one in here in the corner where that table was, the pool table that's standing up on the edge there. Put it there, get the console in there, it'd be amazing. So yeah, well, thank you, man. It's yeah, we're trying, like I said, we're still working on things, still tweaking things, still adding things. There's things like the OBS that we use for streaming that unfortunately still got some bugs that the actual developers are still working on, so until they get that really sorted out, it's kind of difficult for doing some things as good as I want. Like for instance, when we're streaming right now, I would like to record it so I get a higher quality recording that then would go up online. Unfortunately, as soon as you try to record it at the same time, it just crashes. So you can only do one or the other, which is a nightmare. So right now for the week in review, we had to then download it from YouTube to then re-upload it again with the effect bits in it, which wasn't the best quality and caused a bit of problem with sound and stuff and the lighting, so that was a bit annoying. But hopefully they'll get that fixed going down the line, and then we can have better quality streams. Like I said, at some point we'll get a actual dedicated PC in here for streaming. And then things like the consoles, we'll eventually get the other consoles. Kieran brings his PlayStation 4, we use that for those games. Need to get an Xbox One in here so we can play those games. But yeah, hopefully as time goes on and things build up, once we hit maybe a couple of hundred, not subscribers but followers on Twitch, then maybe we'll be able to get the games companies to start sending us games from Sony and Xbox, or Microsoft, sorry. We can get stuff from Nintendo. Problem is they always send it after it's released, which is a bit pointless because we end up getting the physical versions anyway to play them in the studio, and after release it's kind of lost a little bit of its appeal. But to save us some money, it does help sometimes, so at least we've got that option for Nintendo's games. Xbox and PlayStation stuff is a little bit more difficult to get a hold of. We've got a guy in Glasgow that we know that does Xbox Live Gamer Hub. Check out his channel, by the way. Does loads of Xbox stuff, which is pretty cool. I'd like to get involved with him a little bit more, maybe do join up, team up things. Also, yeah, check out some of the other people that we kind of like do stuff with now and again. Scanner Drone, they're in America, they do stuff on films and TV. I think they do some game stuff as well, but it's mostly film and TV stuff they do, so they talk about the latest episodes of programs like Robot and what's the other ones? Any programs that are on The Walking Dead and stuff like that. So they cover that kind of stuff and give their opinions. They're still building up their channel as well, so go and check them out. Bayer Brown and Lola Larsity, I can't remember how the second name is pronounced, Larsity maybe. But they're awesome, they're brilliant. So go and watch them at Breadcrumb Movies, who is involved with the studio, they do their own stuff as well. And anyone else, yeah. But thanks for joining. Give us thumbs up in videos and anything like that, share it around. Like I said, if you've not followed, or you have obviously, but anyone you think that would be interested, pass it around to them. If you want to donate, help support the channel, then fire away, we'd really appreciate it, that'd be awesome. But apart from that, Scanner Drone, sorry, scanner as in scan something, Scanner Drone. It might be drone or drone, I always forget, but Scanner Drone. Search that on YouTube and you'll see it. You should see their channel. I'll probably come up with, do you mean this one? But it's Bayer Brown's a black guy, but a kind of stubbly beard, so you recognise him. Ryan's got the best voice ever. But yeah, check out Jiv. Thank you for joining us tonight. It's been awesome. Thank you for everyone that's joined us and put up with my delayed setup and my issues that I had. These guys have been awesome. If you're joining us tomorrow, I'll see you tomorrow. If not, catch up with you next time. Peace.